Guess what? It's business planning time of year once again. And while you might be thinking, I've got to create this formal business plan in order to get my business all the way together for 2023, the reality is, I'm going to tell you, not so much. Don't focus on that formal business plan that you're going to get all bogged down in, and that's actually not going to help you grow your business into 2023. That's why I'm telling you it's time to start creating your business growth strategy instead. Now, you might be thinking, what's the difference? Why would I create a business growth strategy over a business plan, CP? Good question. And that, my love, is exactly what I'm going to talk to you about today. Why a business growth strategy is going to help you get way further than a true business plan, and it's going to be simple and easy to pull off. So, let's get to work. Okay, so let's start with what is a business growth plan versus a business plan. First of all, a business plan is designed to capture the specifics of your business idea so that you can put it out there in the public and potentially get funding or to find investors or even to really map out the basis of that business idea. I totally recommend when you are first starting your business, before you launch that very first time, that you do create a structured, well-organized, formal business plan. It's going to help you map out everything, create your budget, and even put out some financial projections so you have a good idea of the validity and how strong your business idea truly can be. But your business growth plan, on the other hand, is designed to give you and your already established team, if you've got one, or just yourself, the playbook of exactly what you need to do in the coming year in order to help your business grow. And that is why I do a business growth plan every single year, and actually did a business plan one time in my entire entrepreneurial journey because I ended up putting it into a file cabinet and never really looking at it again. So your business growth plan is going to be that map, that plan, that piece of paper, that strong strategy that you are going to implement some very specific steps off of to help you create the business that you need in order to truly grow. So, business plan is one and done. Business growth strategy is continual and annual, and it's going to be the game plan that's really going to help you achieve that empire that you so desire. Let's talk about the key components of each type of those plans. First, both a business plan and a business growth plan have executive summaries. Those are absolutely critical to summarize what it is that you're focusing on and what it is that you're trying to communicate when it comes to this particular game plan, this map of what you need to do from a business perspective. Both in your business plan and your business growth strategy, you should definitely contain a company description. What is the why of your business? What's the mission? What's the value? What are your company values that you're going to be pushing forward with in that new year? Because that business growth plan and that marketing strategy that you'll eventually create will be based off of all of the above. Both your initial business plan and your business growth strategy should have a market analysis. Not only do you need to know what market you're getting into when you're first starting your business, but every single year you need to understand what the changes are that are happening in your market and what you need to do in order to be able to capitalize off of the strengths that are going on and to really mitigate any risks that are occurring in the market so that you can begin to strategize, pick your products and services, pick your marketing strategy for that following year in order to know really what you're up against. Also, both your business plan and your business growth plan will contain a vision and a mission. But with your growth plan, you're only going to make some tweaks to that original mission and vision. Now, I would say that your overall business plan, your vision is going to be extremely long-term. What's the general gist of what you want your company to accomplish? But every single year, that vision may change. And so with your business growth plan, you're going to be tweaking that initial vision. The mission that you have originally created may or may not need some tweaks. I don't necessarily tweak my mission every single time. The original mission of my business, what I started with, is still the mission of my business today, except it has grown a little bit because over the course of the previous year, I've learned a lot about my audience. I've learned a lot about their needs, a lot about their pain points, and what I need to do in order to really mitigate those things for them. So I have adjusted my mission just a bit, but it doesn't really change that significantly. My vision, on the other hand, has changed. My very first business vision, in my very first business so many years ago, I think it was something like to be the #1 provider of nonprofit consulting services in the country. And then I learned, okay, that's not something that I could really accomplish in 1 year. So visions became a lot more specific and a lot more realistic. So I think that the following year it was to achieve $250,000 in revenue, right? That was a huge vision. Or to establish our brand in the market as the go-to expert in this particular area, which included all kinds of marketing strategies. So that gives you an idea of what I mean when I say you might want to tweak your vision a little bit, your mission a little bit, and really kind of make a brand new vision every single year. Now, let's talk about what only the growth plan is going to have from a component perspective versus the business plan, because all the things I just mentioned are in both of the plans, but now we're getting to one that's very specific for the growth plan, and that is that your growth plan is going to have very strategic, smart goals, initiatives, and specific action items that you've got to get done. What do I really mean when I say your growth plan strategy is the one that's going to have that? Well, your business plan is going to really be an outline of your business structure, your business model, your business financials, your budget, maybe what your products and services are, maybe who your ICA is, who your customer is, what market you're in. Your growth plan is going to determine very specific goals that you have for your business. And those goals, under those, you're going to create different strategies that you're going to do in order to accomplish those goals. And underneath those strategies, you're going to create very specific step-by-step action items that are going to help you accomplish those strategic initiatives and those strategies in order to accomplish the goal. Your original business plan doesn't have specific action items in it. It doesn't say that an overall goal of my organization is to signify that I'm an expert in my field, for instance. And that means that a strategy in order to do that is to create a digital marketing campaign or a social media footprint or something like that. Well, in order to create a social media footprint, the action steps to accomplish that might say, I need to make sure that I have, found and created all of my social media profiles. Step number 1. Step number 2, to create compelling bios for all of my social media profiles. Step number 3 is to post content on a regular, consistent basis on all of my social media profiles. So as you can see, those action items are really going to get me to that strategy of creating a social media presence, which ultimately then is going to put me on the map of being that expert in my field or kind of creating a digital marketing strategy. Your business plan, a formal one, is not going to have those action items. And those action items, my love, that you are going to do is what's going to actually show you the results. And that's why I'm a firm believer that a growth plan is much more significant and much more impactful for your business. Because while a business plan is out there designed to help you get investors and funding and kind of give you the brainwaves and the map of everything, the growth plan is actually going to tell you exactly what you have to do in order to get the job done. It's going to give you that focus, that map, that plan, that Siri in order to get you to your end destination from where you're starting at right now. So do you need to see what I mean? Because I think it might be helpful. Then I want you to go ahead and grab your growth plan versus business plan growth strategy chart. It's a comparison chart that I provide. It is absolutely free for you. I want you to go to www.cherylcperez.com/growth versus business plan chart and grab it. It's also going to be in the links down below. That is going to really give you the differences in what is between the two plans and why you should really be focusing on that growth plan strategy. I want to map it out so that you can visually see what I'm going over. So make sure that you go ahead and grab it. So now let's get back into what makes a growth plan better than a business plan and why I think you should be focusing all of your efforts and attentions on that versus that formal document that you may never use again. So why is a business growth plan simply better? Well, first, it takes into consideration your SWOT. It actually allows you to take the time to analyze what your internal strengths are, what your internal weaknesses are, what your external opportunities are that exist out there for you, and what the external threats are that could potentially cause some risk and some rifts and some challenges in your business. Your growth plan strategy really utilizes that SWOT in order to move forward with helping you create that plan. And in a general business plan, your SWOT isn't going to be as comprehensive or even utilized. I think my original business plan, I didn't have a SWOT at all because I wasn't going to really be using that information to create action items or steps. But in your growth strategy, you are going to have a SWOT. It is very, very important for you to create a comprehensive one because once you're able to outline what all of those strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats are, you're really going to be able to hone in on what the strengths are that you can capitalize off of and continue to grow, what your weaknesses are that you really need to fix in order to get to that next level, what opportunities are existing so that you can time everything out properly, and also what threats are out there in the market so that you can kind of mitigate those risks and try to avoid them or at least plan for them because nobody likes a surprise risk, and it's funny because I think about this all the time and I had these questions and these conversations from my coachees and my conversations with my students. And one of the biggest, threats that existed in the last couple of years was the COVID pandemic. And it was impossible to kind of predict that or to project it. At least that's what the conversation entailed. And as I was listening more, I thought to myself, well, really, was it? Because even though the COVID pandemic felt like it came out of nowhere for most of us, it was in the news. It did exist. It was in the market. Globally, people were aware that it was existing and that it was coming, at least before it got here to the States. And so in that growth planning thing, you could have found the information about the fact that there was a pandemic, that it was spreading, that there was no cure, that there were no vaccines, that it was making people really sick and killing people all over the world. And you could have said the COVID pandemic coming to the US, what will that mean? What is that threat that's out there in the market? And what can I put in place in my business in 2020 in order to help mitigate that? If you had taken the time to really do that research and figure out what that threat was and include that in your growth plan strategy, then you may have said, I need to make sure I'm building out things online because I may not be able to have contact with people. There may be ways that are going to shut down my business, especially if I have a high contact type of business. So utilizing that SWOT from the growth plan would have really helped you prepare for that potential threat. And that's why the SWOT, I say, is so important. And that's what makes a growth plan strategy much, much more imperative, much more critical, and quite frankly, much more useful for your true business growth than an actual business plan. Another reason why your growth plan is going to be better for you than just a general business plan is because it has very specific goals, very specific projects, strategies, and action items that makes a business growth plan and strategy your true map. Like the music sheet when you're playing music, it gives you all of those things and really does make you think through what those strategies need to be in order to really mitigate what you've uncovered in that SWOT. So next week, I'm really going to dive into the 5 steps of creating this growth plan strategy. And now that I've said that, I want to make sure that you know, if you aren't subscribed, please make sure that you take the time to do, because over the next few weeks, we are going to be focusing on creating growth plan strategies, really getting into how to plan for 2023. And I'm actually going to walk you through how to create the strategy so that you have the plan that you need to follow to give you that focus that you need in order to grow to that next level. But those specific goals, those specific strategies, and those specific action items are really truly that game plan and that map that you know, these are the things that I've got to get done in order to achieve this particular growth strategy, this particular growth goal, or this particular growth objective. A business plan doesn't really get into all of that. You may have a general goal for your business, but it doesn't really break down all the steps and all the stuff and all the things and all the team and all the implementation things that you've got to do to really grow your business. And that's why I focus more on the growth plan strategy and recommend that to everybody, because it's less cumbersome and a lot more useful. Now, another reason why a growth plan strategy is better than a business plan is because your growth plan strategy is going to give you that roadmap of exactly what you need to do and when you need to do it. It's the plan. It's the step-by-step. I get a lot of feedback from folks in my DMs and on social and here on YouTube. And by the way, if you don't already follow me on social, please make sure you do, because we should be friends. I give a lot of content on there as well. But I get a lot of those questions around, CP, what's my step-by-step process? I need a step-by-step process. I want somebody to kind of take my hand and hold me and walk me through what I need to do exactly. And that, my love, is exactly what your growth plan strategy is. It is your step-by-step process. It is the hand that you can hold that will walk you through everything that you need to do in order to achieve a certain level of growth. So if you've got a sales goal of $250,000 in revenue, or $500,000 in revenue, or $1 million in revenue, you can then break down and say, that's my goal. What are the strategies that I'm going to implement in order to achieve that goal? So you might say, I've got this strategy, and this strategy in order to achieve that $500,000 goal. Now you've got these 3 strategies. What are the action items underneath each of those strategies that you've got to actually do, and by when? When's your deadline to do them in order to ultimately get the strategy accomplished so that you can get closer to that goal? And that's really what your growth plan is going to do. For me, it's a quick document, but it is a so useful document. And if I go a year without having one, I really truly feel like I'm just kind of floating around like a chicken with my head cut off and just kind of grasping at straws and looking for squirrels and doing all that kind of good stuff completely in chaos. And it really prevents me from being able to focus. I'm very easily distracted, and I feel like I'm all over the place, and I don't really need to be. If I had taken the time to create that growth plan strategy, I'd have a complete laser focus. I really wouldn't, break from the plan. If it's not on the plan, I can't do it. It's just an idea that goes into an idea log for the future. But that growth plan strategy really keeps me focused and gives me that motivation to know exactly what my next step is going to be. And that is the peace and the focus and the just great feeling that you get from actually having a growth plan strategy versus just a traditional business plan. And another reason why your business growth plan strategy is better is because it allows you to truly take action and to track that action. I created a template a long time ago, and I'm actually going to be going through that template in the next few weeks, so make sure that you are subscribed. But I created a template that really allows me to put all of my action steps in order for me to get to a strategy, what the deadline dates are, who's responsible for it. And every single month, I'm able to check off if it was completed, what percentage it was completed, and if I need to kind of continue and expand those deadline dates. I wouldn't be able to do that without my growth plan strategy. A true business plan, a traditional business plan doesn't really allow for that. But your growth plan strategy does. These are the specific action items that I've got to do by when in order to accomplish this goal by this date. So let me give you an example. If one of my goals is to increase my presence on social media, or let's just say to start a YouTube channel, and my deadline date to start that YouTube channel is by June 1st of 2023. I know in order to start a YouTube channel, I've got to come up with some very specific action. There's some specific things I got to do in order to create that channel and to begin to build my YouTube presence. Well, I know that if my deadline date for my channel is June 1st, then I've got to work my way backwards. So what are the steps that I've got to do? Are there 6 steps? Are there 7 steps that I've got to do in order to create that YouTube channel? And if that's the case, legitimately, how long is each of those steps going to give me? So the final step, which is launch my first video, video has to be done by June 1st of 2023. But before I can launch that video, I've got to get that video recorded and edited. And maybe that's due 2 weeks before, maybe that's due by May 15th. And then before I can do that, I've got to kind of do my research and figure out what I need to do in order to create my channel. So I've got to create my channel by March 1st. I got to create my banner and do all that kind of good stuff. I got to get it registered. I got to do all of those things and kind of create my content calendar all before I can officially launch this channel. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of what I mean when I say the specific action items. If you want a YouTube channel, you got to map out what you got to do in order to get that done. And that growth plan strategy is exactly where you're going to want to do it. And all of those deadline dates are going to put some list of things to do with some deadline dates specifically for you and or your team so that everyone knows when everything is due in order for you to accomplish that final action plan. That is why I love a growth plan strategy. And that's why I do one every single year, because every single year, your needs, the market, the audience, your revenue targets, what you've been spending, what you're not spending, all of that stuff changes. And you need to be able to create the strategies for the following calendar year in order to get to that next level. I've been using a growth plan strategy in my business for at least 20 years. And I could tell you is the single most exclusive reason why I've been able to achieve double-digit growth in my businesses almost every single year. And I say almost because obviously the pandemic was a special year, special couple years actually. But that business growth strategy has helped me stay focused. It has given me and my team a real true map on what we've got to get done. I know how to work on my business every single month because I've got deadline dates every single month. And I'm telling you, the growth plan strategy process that I've been doing for years is absolutely critical, and it's so helpful. And I've been using it from my second business and beyond, which is probably why I've had so much more success since my first business, and I totally recommend it for you as well. So if you are serious about growing your business, starting your business, getting your business off the ground, making your business legit, whatever it is, a business growth strategy plan is a must. Now, how are you gonna do it? Stick with me in the coming weeks and I will walk you through, I promise. And hopefully you found this kind of as the initial thing to get your mind working around what your plan should be, because now's the time. Now's the time to begin this process. Now's the time to begin thinking, utilizing the holidays to begin looking into the future of what you want to do next year in order to get your business to that next level. Those are all critical thoughts that I want you to begin with. And obviously I want you to tune in every single week so that we can keep this discussion going. I can get into more steps, I can give you the specifics, and you can start 2023 on the right foot with that end game and that end goal of your business destiny at the forefront. So hopefully you found this helpful. If so, please make sure you give me a like. Please make sure you share, give me some feedback, ask me whatever business planning or business growth strategy questions you have in the comment below. And until next time, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Mwah!